But today, I'm the greatest of all time. Thank you.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters. And we ain't got nothing to hide, we move forward like soldiers. You better wake up for the pay stub, or you'll pay up. Don't make love to the game, bruh, to game up. Change up, rearrange stuff to your greatness. Same us for the way up, play the game, bruh.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top, yeah.
You know I'm always honest, there ain't no way I'll never stop it.
I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top,
I'm always flirting with pain, she likes to hurt me and maim. I'm always working to change, but she's still lurking the same. I keep on building a dynasty while the haters be trying me, but they hate from inside.
All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Unscripted live here on the Elite Sports and Entertainment Network. Joining me today to talk a little bit of WNBA action, something with the season kicking up here in just a couple of days. We are going to do a little bit of a preview, just look at the team that everyone is talking about, that being the Indiana Fever, and of course their hopeful brand new superstar, Caitlin Clark. Joining me to help me break this team down, talk about this team, how we think they're going to do, and how we think Caitlin is going to do in her first season in the WNBA. As always, my guy, Jay McLovin. What's going on, Jay?
Hey, I'm doing well, man. And yeah, Caitlin Clark, man. I'm looking forward to talking about her and her impact on what it should be on the NBA. I mean, on the WNBA.
I'm about to say we get to see how it's going to roll and how she does. You know, first year in the big leagues, right, in the WNBA, and I know she's hoping that they can bank off this and first off, you know, get the team better as a whole and just improve ratings, get more money and get more fans and just really kind of the snowball effect for this franchise. So we're going to get into that in just a moment. But guys, be sure if you enjoy this episode here today, live on Facebook, X, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, also on LinkedIn, we're over there as well. Go check us out. As well as on Northeast Streaming Sports' Roku channel. You can also go and check them out over on YouTube as well, as where you can find all of their content. They got some great shows over there. Go out there and support them. Well, Jay, let's get into it, my friend. Let's talk about Caitlin Clark. Year one prediction. I want to get your initial thoughts, just how you're feeling. Do you think that she's going to come out and light it up, or do you think there maybe is going to be kind of a grace period where she might struggle to adjust to the new league and obviously playing a lot more players who are more, you know, who are veterans who have been in the league for a handful of years and just kind of getting adjusted to the new style as opposed to college?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, the WNBA absolutely unequivocally needs Caitlin Clark to just blow up the league and just come out firing, guns a-blazing. They really do. I mean, look, when the WNBA is sitting 2 spots above the UFL at the bottom of the menu categories, that's a problem. That's a huge problem. You're the WNBA and you're at the very, very – I got to scroll all the way to the bottom to be able to click on the WNBA. That just kind of tells you the relevancy that they're having. And Caitlin Clark, hopefully her, you know, with her debut, can hopefully generate some more marketability for this, you know, for this organization, which clearly right now has no marketability. And that's really that's really the NBA's fault. But as I digress, you know, you look at Caitlin Clark, you know, she only had one preseason game, but in that preseason game, she managed to put up 16 points in the first half, 5 points in the second half, and she finished on 4 of 5 at the free throw line, 6 of 15 at the field goal line, and 5 of 13 at the three-point line with 3 rebounds, 2 assists. So that's her stat line, right? Here's my problem with that. You go 5 of 13 at the three-point line. that's probably right at about what 40% probably at the 3-point line.
I would say it'd be in the high 40s.
Yeah, so she's shooting in the high 40s. The team did lose 79-76. They lost by 3. The problem I have with it is that she came out blazing in the first half, and then that second half, she just only put up 5 points. Very dismal. I think if she would have had a decent second half, anywhere from 10 to 11 points, and then finished up like 26, then I think that they would have not only won that game, but it really would have set the tone more for Caitlin Clark. When Wemby came into the league, and he was the phenomenal, the generational phenom on the NBA side. He actually backed it up. He came out and he put up some crazy freaking numbers. He's still putting up crazy freaking numbers. And, Caitlin Clark, I understand it's her first, preseason game, so I don't really want to make too much about it. But, they really expect big things out of her. They really expect her to be the face of the organization. They're supposed to be the Michael Jordan of girls basketball. And let's be honest, Logan, for them to be relevant, to get the WNBA to relevancy, she's going to have to be a Michael Jordan. And Angela Reese, however you say her name, she's going to have to be the next, Isaiah Thomas. I mean, they need these kinds of women to really bring the WNBA to some sort of legitimate feel.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like you said, very small sample size. Obviously, just playing one game, and it's also preseason. I'm not putting any stock into it, but it does kind of beg the question of when she went into college, when she played at Iowa. I'm saying early on, right, when no one really cared about Caitlin Clark, Iowa Hawkeyes, women's basketball, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. She was kind of able to fly under the radar, Jay, for a little bit before, obviously, we saw that her play was getting more national coverage, that you were seeing the amount of threes that she was taking and also making, and just the scoring outburst that we would see practically every single night. Obviously, we know that, the runs in March in the March Madness tournament and stuff like that. And then obviously going number 1 overall in the most recent draft. I say that because you see the evolution of her game in a sense, to where a couple of years ago, no one even knew this person's name. And now when you talk about specifically women's basketball, but you could also throw basketball as a sport in there. Right. In terms of the most relevant / popular players nowadays, she's got to be up there. And you brought up a good point. It's not that she wants to be the next, the female version of Michael Jordan that transcends the league, because people forget, Jay. I know you remember, but a lot of people forget that the NBA was kind of in shambles. Before MJ came along in the 80s, it wasn't doing too hot. But then he came in and obviously helped, along with a bunch of other players as well, but that's just the main guy you look at, helped change the face of the league first and foremost, change the way that people look at it. Because we know there's a lot of, drug use and everything else. It was just not a clean league, we'll say, that there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that the league didn't approve of. But after Jordan came in, you saw that kind of go by the wayside year after year after year. And in the WNBA, I would say it's in a reverse fashion. And I say that because it feels like it's almost too clean in a sense that it's great. You don't really hear a whole lot about these players off the field or off the court issues, which, I mean, great to them, outstanding people. But you're getting the low attendance like you saw in the 80s in the NBA, early 80s, what I'm saying. You're seeing the low attendance. You're seeing fans not showing up. You're seeing television deals not being inked. You're not seeing a whole lot of coverage. And that is what me and you specifically have said about this league for years now, is you have to go and support. And it feels like now is the prime chance for this woman and Caitlin Clark, this team in the Indiana Fever, and this league in the WNBA to just put all your chips on the table, cash it in, and put every ounce of stock you have into, I'll say, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, because those seem to be the next two ladies to be the face of this league. I'm saying I'm pushing them on Saturday Night Live, which Caitlin was a part of a while ago. I'm pushing them on interviews. If there's an event going on, if there's charity events, best believe you're showing up. You know, if the local cops in town are having a donut, go and say hi. And it just takes time, Jay. It does. And I'm not saying this wasn't done before. Obviously, the league's been around for over 25 years. They're still in business, so they're doing something right. But they got to figure out, Jay, how to make a profit. And I think this, more so than any years past, is how you do it. Because I don't ever recall this amount of attention put into a prospect coming straight out of college in the WNBA. I mean, like you said, she is the front page of SportsCenter. She's the one thing that Jay, the women's, it might have been the first time ever, if I'm mistaken, the first time ever March Madness drew more viewers than the men's side. That's because of her as well as Angel Reese. But getting back to Caitlin Clark in general,
right?
Year one prediction, I think I'm with you. I'm with a lot of people. And she's got the weight of the world, the weight of a league on her shoulders. Because if she's the player that she was at Iowa, the same player, if not better, right? Because, I mean, she's young. She's in her 20s. She's still learning. If she gets better, that's how you get more fans, in a sense. That's how you get more jersey sales. That's how you get a TV deal.
Absolutely.
And most importantly, that's how these players get more money. I mean, my God, I just saw a headline yesterday to where, for the first time in this league's 25-plus year history, they're going to be having flights. They're going to be having paid flights. As a sports fan, I can't just say MVP year one, because that'd be tremendous. I would love to see that. But realistically, though, Jay, you mentioned Wembanyama. Wembanyama just won Rookie of the Year. He was the number one overall draft pick in the NBA. I'll go Caitlin Clark taking home the Rookie of the Year in the WNBA. I think that's a fair prediction for her first season. Now, once she gets seasoned, once she gets in the league for a little bit, then we could more so talk about MVP. But for year one, in good faith, I can't do that, because that's rarely, if ever, done in any league. It doesn't matter what sport.
Right.
But I think it's safe for me to say I'm expecting a Rookie of the Year season in year one.
Yeah, when it comes to her, one of the knocks I have on Caitlin Clark is her defense. She needs to work on her defense a little bit more for her to really start to get into that well-rounded, all-around basketball player in the WNBA. So she does need to work on her defense, but set the defense off to the side. I think Caitlin Clark, if she wants to be the face, or she wants to be the person in the WNBA, she needs to be at 28, 8, and 7, somewhere in that neighborhood of 28 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. That's where she really needs to be at, right? And I think if she would have put up those particular numbers against the Wings, that they would have won that game handily, and this wouldn't even have been an issue. Again, it still is preseason, so we have to remember that. But I think, for this to be a successful season as her debut season, I think she needs to be averaging at least 28, 8, and 7. If she can go 28, 8, and 7, then this girl, has got a bright future ahead of her. But I think she needs to average somewhere in that neighborhood to really be able to be the difference maker that the WNBA is really looking for to propel them.
So, Jay, and you said 28, 8, and 7. So I looked up the stats from last season in the WNBA, and this is high expectations, and is what I'm saying here, because the top scorer last year per game was Jewel Lloyd, who got a respectable 24.7 points to lead the league.
Yeah.
If Clark could bump that by 3.5, 4 points, like you're saying, that's how you get more attention. Let's look at assists per game because that might be a little bit more downtrodden, we'll say.
Right.
When I look at assists per game, the top assist person last year was Courtney Vandersloot, who got 8.1 assists, followed by Alyssa Thomas, who got 7.9. So that's that you can do that, right?
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
then when we look at rebounds, you said 7, I believe, correct?
8 rebounds, 7 assists.
Okay, yeah, so 8 rebounds, 7 assists. So the top the top rebounder last year, also Alyssa Thomas, who got 9.9 rebounds, but also, like I said, let's take into effect size. Caitlin Clark's a point guard.
Right.
Alyssa Thomas is coming in, 6'2" as a forward.
Oh, I understand all that. I'm just trying to tell you. What I'm saying is, and I know that's what you're saying. You're pointing out, how far she has to go in each one of those categories to attain that. And I think it's attainable. Look, this is Caitlin freaking Clark. This is the one that everybody made out to be the best thing since Michael Jordan came into the NBA. Period. I mean, this is Wembanyama height that this girl is getting. So look. Do I think she's going to be a bust? No. I think she's going to be a great basketball player in the NBA and the WNBA. But we're not talking about great WNBA players. We're talking about somebody who needs to be the face of the WNBA, that needs to be the one to lead the WNBA. And that's the only way you're going to do it is by generating 28, 8, and 7 or better, because you have to do something that they're going to take notice of. Because right now, nobody cares about 20 points or less. Nobody cares about that. That's just an average NBA player, honestly. Not even an elite NBA player, just an average NBA player. And this is supposed to be Caitlin freaking Clark. So we have the high expectations are much more elevated for her, given on what she did in college, and we fully expect her to translate that into the NBA. I don't know if that's actually going to be the case, but I think she's got a better shot than most. And she needs, and if the WNBA is going to have that next level of crop of players to take it to the next level from where Lisa Leslie's got it to, and the Cheryl Swoops and stuff, then she's going to have to do that. She's going to have to raise her game to that next level if she wants to go that direction. And so is Angel Reese, for that matter.
Right. So I'm taking a look at their team here, Jay. Just who all is going to be around her this season. And obviously, because look, it's one person. She's expected to be the number one option. But I think it's also fair to look at the pieces around her and how they're building this team, because people don't they forget, they don't realize this. But Jay, a lot of draft picks don't even make it to the team in the WNBA because that's just how the league is for some odd reason. If you're drafted number 5 overall in 2022, there's a good shot you're not even on the team in 2024. That's just the amount of turnover this league has is bar none. So when I look at their team, I look for who else is going to be the young rookies with you, and who are going to be the veterans on your team. So looking at the rookies per se, obviously it's going to be Caitlin Clark. Other one is going to be Leilani Correa, and finally Celeste Taylor. That's 3 guards right there. When you look at one-year players for women who just got into the league, basically, you got Victoria Sexton, who's a forward. You've also got Aaliyah Boston, a forward/center who came out of South Carolina. She's got a lot of hype around her as well. And also Grace Berger, who's another guard. But the main 2 people who I'm looking at this team, Jay, probably 2 or 3, I would say, to help get all the rookies I just mentioned, as well as Caitlin, adjusted to how the league works, is I'm seeing Damaris Dantas, a forward who has 8 years of experience. I'm also seeing Erica Wheeler, a guard who also has 8 years of experience, and also Kelsey Mitchell, a guard who has 6 years of experience coming out of Ohio State. Those 3 women in general. And when I look at them, obviously Kelsey Mitchell's been in the league for 6 years, but Jay, she was also number 2 overall pick by Indiana all those years ago. When I look at Damaris Dantas, she was a first-round pick back in 2012. And then when I take a look at Erica Wheeler, their other guard, who's 5'7", 143, I see someone who was undrafted, who had to work, and who's been in this league for a long time. She, like I said, undrafted, and became the first player in league history to win All-Star Game MVP as undrafted player. So you've got two females who had high expectations as first-round draft picks, and one who had the scratch and claw for everything she has, and it's given her 8 years plus in the league now. Those are the three women who I'm looking for to take Caitlin under her wing, to show her the ropes, show her the ins and outs of WNBA lifestyle, and to get adjusted as a player. Because look, she's going to go through slumps. Every player does. Right. But how do you come back from that? How do you come back from that is telling. So
yeah, and here's the thing too. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lou.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, that's another big thing. And when we look at TV coverage for games coming up, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, they have to be the two prolific, teams that you're watching out there. Like the WNBA really has to do a job of hyping up all these games. You got they are playing New York a couple of times and played Vegas a couple of times. I'm talking about the Fever specifically. So they have some good games against some really good teams out there that will get them, some much needed access. But if I'm the commissioner of the WNBA, and I'm looking, I'd go back and relook at their schedules and make sure that your Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are getting a lot of the TV coverage, because that you need that. That is your marketability. Since you're not doing any marketing, that is your marketing. So they definitely need to make sure that their TV coverage is reflecting their main stars.
No, that's exactly what they need to do. And that's what this league struggled with, for God's sake, forever. And also, Jay, I feel like they're already failing that in a sense, because her preseason game that you've brought up, you couldn't watch it. It wasn't on TV. It was on local markets, but it wasn't on national. I don't
understand that.
Like I said, it's preseason, sure, but still, you need to get as many eyeballs as you can on this product, as much as you can. And I'm sure that they've got a good slate of games for national coverage. At least I would hope so. I would think for this hype around them. And like you said, she needs to do something that this league's never done, Jay. And like you said, I'm more so going to focus on the 28. I was just looking through all the stats throughout the league's history, Jay. Nobody has averaged that. No one's averaged over 26.
Exactly. And that's what she's going to have to do.
That's why we have these high hopes, because we know she can do it, for God's sake. Because, Jay, she is the all-time leading scorer in college basketball history. She beat Pete Maravich in a record that no one thought would even get close to being broken. And she did it. So that's why we have high expectations for it. We think the world of her. We want her to do good. We want her to have all these ratings.
Yeah, and really, she has to be that person.
She does.
I really believe it's her and Angel Reese and a few other ones that are in the NBA. They really have to, be the ones that re-evolutionize the game. In other words, they need to take that game to the next level and get out of just being in the low 20. Like, you guys need to be scoring. Like if you really want to take the game to the next level, you have to elevate your game to the next level. And that's what Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, hopefully they can elevate the game to the next level where everybody else will have to force themselves to catch up to them. And I think that's how you're going to make the WNBA better. But again, it just reconfirms that what we were talking about earlier, where the NBA just seems like the WNBA is a tax write-off for them, and they don't really care about it. Because if you really cared about it, you're not going to have your biggest star, the biggest star ever that has played in this game,
that's came into
on
this
local
league.
channels, on local freaking channels. Come on.
So,
man, we got to do better than that.
I looked through their schedule this year, Jay, and I'm looking solely at ESPN because that's what we all think of. We think of, predominant sports networks. I know there's Fox, CBS, all those other ones, but just on ESPN. Let's see. I see a game on May 14th on ESPN Plus, ESPN2. I see a game on May 20th on ESPN. They're the main network, right? On June 13th, there's a game on ESPN3. On June 30th, there's a game on ESPN. On July 2nd, there's another game on ESPN, so back-to-back for them. Then we get another set of back-to-backs on July 14th and July 17th, both of them on ESPN. And then it looks like the final game on the ESPN network, Jay, is going to be on Sunday, September 8th the Atlanta Dream versus the Indiana Fever on ESPN3. That's going to be a 4 p.m. tip-off.
See, that makes
So, there's only nine games in total are going to be on the network as a general, as well as their other smaller network. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
What are you really going to do with that, Logan? You can't do nothing with that. I mean, you can't build a brand with that type of coverage. It's just impossible, man. I mean, you're not going to get the people's reaction. You're not going to get the women involved enough because there's not enough of the games in there for the women to really get involved in it. So I don't know how you. And again, I think this all goes back to what we were saying earlier. The NBA is just used this as a tax write. That's just got to be the issue.
So there is, I believe, there are now 40 games in the regular season. I think they've just bumped that up a little bit. Oh, that is with the Commissioner's Cup and everything that they've added. So we'll say 40 games.
All right.
Only 9 are on ESPN. I'm not saying you have to get half the. You got to get more than 9 though, for God's sake. And also, not on ESPN3 or I mean the main network. That's how you do it.
But do you see any of these other WNBA teams, selling out or closing up shop, or or folding or anything like that?
I can't speak to that because I can't tell you the last time a team folded.
Right.
But like I said earlier, and I think it is a telling point. I don't know if it's the talent or if it's the league or if it's a mixture of both. But a lot of women who were drafted in this league, Jay, in the first round, don't even make it long. Yeah. They don't make it 5 years. It feels like they're cut or they're traded or just they're gone like that. You blink and you miss them.
And that's not even taken into consideration, when they have maternity leave and things like that.
Right, of course, yeah.
I mean, you're basically losing a season. Every time you get pregnant, you lose a season. Or the majority of the season.
That is a valid point. And it's I mean, the thing that this, and I think we'll leave it on this because we only have just a little bit of time left here in the show. For Caitlin, for the Indiana Fever, and for the WNBA. Now, it would be a storybook telling, Jay, if this team went from worst to first.
Oh, yeah.
Picked them 1 overall in the draft and then took it all the way home to win a championship, right? Caitlin winning MVP and Rookie of the Year, all these accolades. We'd see a movie about it in 5 years.
Oh, absolutely.
Realistically, I expect Indiana to improve. I don't think they're going to be a lottery pick next year. I think that they're a team who can make the playoffs, obviously, with the WNBA being lesser teams. I think this is a playoff team. I would say middle of the road, right? Maybe a 3 seed. I could see them having a good run in the playoffs, perhaps, if all goes well. I'm not expecting a championship, but I am expecting, Jay, my predictions, Rookie of the Year, and a playoff berth. I think that year one, that would be a success and a step in the right direction for Caitlin, for this team, and for this franchise.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. I totally agree with you. Look, even when Wembanyama came in the league, as good as he's balling out with San Antonio, they couldn't even get to the playoffs. It takes more than just that one specific person, right? But, I mean, this is a good building block for the Fever, just like Wemby was a good building block for the Spurs. And, I do think within the next, 2 to 3 years, they could be vying for the championship. I think they just need a little bit more development, maybe one piece or two here or there. Because right now they got 3 main scorers and then a bunch of guys who eat up small minutes but don't really put out a whole lot. So you got 3 main people, and you really need that 6th person off the bench, which is probably the next person I would try to look for in the draft, if not even free agency. And then, of course, you got the regular season players that you have to get, your regular starters that you have to get, at least one more regular starter. So I think you need a 6th man and another starter to really be in vying contention for a playoff run, a really serious playoff run.
And we will see what this team does as the WNBA season tips off here in just a few short days. For Jay McLovin, man, I appreciate it as always. I've been your host, producer, Logan Landers. Guys, get out there, support your local WNBA team if you have one. Go watch some games, go buy some jerseys. And until next time, we'll talk to you on another live episode.